right, now we are joined by the one of the hosts of the Moving the Chains podcast with on Mancini Sports. Of course, you know Mark Mancini, so it's his sports network. Her name is Danielle Orsino. Danielle, thank you for joining the show. She's going to talk some Giants with us.
I'm happy to be here. Can't really defend them, but we'll chat anyway.
Hey, listen, we got. It can't get any worse, right? It can't possibly be worse.
We went through the Dave Brown era. It can always get worse with the Giants.
Yeah, with Ray Hanley, Dave. I know. Well, that's the problem. I said I'm not a big Daniel Jones guy. I don't know how you feel about Daniel Jones. You could tell me, but I always said, and I've said it for now since they drafted him. I said, if you're going to be drafting somebody out of Duke, you should be a basketball team. And we know Dave
Agreed.
Brown went to Duke. So, are
Yep.
you a Daniel Jones? Did you want them to sign him, or do you feel like they just kind of had to?
I was shocked when they signed him. I had somebody else picked, and I remember when it went down, I was like, "Who the hell is this? What is going on here?" I was shocked. I was very shocked when they gave him the money. I was not a fan of him getting the money. I felt they should have tagged him. I needed another year of him to prove himself. I get the fact that everybody was like, okay, he's had all these coaches. He hasn't had any consistency. He hasn't had weapons, blah, blah, blah. My feeling was fix the O-line because you can give him as many toys as you want. If the O-line isn't fixed, and let's say, God forbid, we've been saying it since 2013, we're going to fix the O-line. We have drafted 3 offensive players in all these years. We went through Eric Flowers.
Oh, Flowers, the human false start.
Yeah. We've gotten 3 guys. It hasn't gone well. You got to fix the O-line before you get anybody fancy back there and then give him all these little speed toys. So I did not understand the Jones situation. So I wasn't kind of into giving him all this money. I still felt like he needs a year to prove it, and we need to fix the O-line. Fix the O-line, then you'll see what he's really capable of, and then if he's worth the money. So no, I wasn't a fan of the deal. Then when I heard he wanted more money, I felt that Jones and Barkley were a Batman-Robin duo. One needs the other one.
Yeah, listen, I like Barkley, and I almost feel bad a little bit for Barkley because you can't give him more money. He's not going to get more money anywhere. Running back is it's not a dying position, but it's just not worth what it used to be. And I've said to people that I'm like, Nate, tell me who the Chiefs' leading rusher is. They can't tell me. Half the people don't know because it's not a big deal. You win and lose with the quarterback. That's why the Jets are screwed. And John, Daniel Jones the other night, he runs too much. I feel like he wants to run before pass. I feel like he always wants to run. You can't survive in the NFL like that. You can't survive. You're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hurt. It's just it's not a winning. It's not a way to go in the NFL. All the NFL great passers, they sit in the pocket. They whip. They fling it out there, and he wants to run first, and it's just not. You can't sustain that in the NFL.
No, look, I like the idea of a mobile quarterback. The Giants have never had a mobile quarterback. They've always had a pocket passer. So I don't mind the versatility Jones has, and that's cool and all. But when it comes to Barkley, establishing an RPO and things like that and giving us versatility as well with him, that's all fine, well, and good. But then we need to have more running backs. Like we need to, Breida's great. That's all fine. But I'm just looking at Jones and I'm thinking, okay, you've had the neck injury. We already know you've had these injuries stacked up already. Giving him that much money, I'm looking at you already going, okay. Neal to me comes off more like a guard than a tackle. I mean,
Yeah.
At one point, just move to the side and say, Micah Parsons, would you like to sack my quarterback? Please go right ahead. Thank you. I mean, that's what he looked like to me. I mean, even Micah Parsons was like, I'm coming for him. Like, I felt like he tapped him on the shoulder and was like, excuse me, would you mind? And he was just like, yeah, sure, go right ahead. That's fine. I mean, the pressure was like 27 and him and Glowinski was like responsible for 17. I'm sorry, flag on the play. That seems like a lot. Just saying. And I'm thinking other teams are going to look at that and go, that right side. Thinking that's where we head.
Yeah, look, the whole line was a disaster. He was, I think, pressured. I think it said 67% of the time he was pressured when he dropped back, which is ridiculous. But it even felt like more. I felt like there was no time when he dropped back where he wasn't pressured. And
he was running for his life.
He was running for his life. Even on the first drive when they got it down there, he was running for his life, and he just happened to stumble into some positive yards. But, I mean, what a disaster. Now I'm putting up some highlights from the game. I don't watch them because I know you're not
We
gonna,
had
you don't want to
highlights.
see them again. Yeah, well, no, they're Cowboy highlights, and
Oh,
it's,
okay.
but it's the kind of game where it just kind of piled on. It's you get the block field goal, return the other way for six. That's a devastating play. Then you get the Barkley
Oh.
fumble. I still think it's a fumble, but they're calling it an interception. They call whatever they want. It went for six the other way. Before you know it,
Hmm.
before you're even in your seat, it's 19-0. And then it's
Yep.
26-0 at half. The game's obviously over, but I would have liked to see them come out and do something. You know,
I
they came out
just some
and
fire.
it was Cowboys, bam, 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 touchdown, 33-0, and now it's over.
I felt like the Cowboys sat on there and was like, who wants a touchdown today? Like, who wants it? Who would like a stat? Let's draw straws. Which one's getting it today? I mean, it was just one thing after another. And even like, okay, the Barkley fumble, I almost can look at Barkley and go, I get it. Like, the guy put his shoulder into the ball,
Yeah,
popped it.
it was a good play.
But it was, and I'm just kind of like, yo, high five. It was just a good play. Like, I can't say it was something where it was like, you didn't protect the ball. Nothing like that. The block field goal. I mean, really?
The spe-
It was just one of those where I was like, it looked like he just came around and was like, excuse me. Like, nobody saw him. He was just, and there were a couple even on the O line where it just came right through, and I felt like the center was just, I don't know. I don't even think he put his hand out. It was just one of those where he just like sidestepped and put the guy through. I couldn't say anything. I think Daniel Jones, there was a couple times that kid got up and I just felt like he looked around like, did anybody get the number of the truck that just hit me? Did anybody see him? I don't know. And the new turf is horrible. At one point, I looked around and I was like, he's got freckles. And I'm like, oh, no, that's the turf. I mean, it was just from beginning to end, the whole thing. I think they showed Jones at one point with a towel over his head while it was raining, just sitting on the bench. And I think
yeah,
even
yeah,
he
that's
was
the shot. That's
questioning.
the shot. They put it in black and white
Yeah,
in the newspaper, and it's like a photo,
yep,
a photographer type of shot. But listen, the special teams are a disaster with this team. Remember, there was the whole
yeah,
thing with Dable giving him the smirk or whatever, or the look of death in the preseason. And special teams will kill you if you're
yes,
okay with special teams, you could get by. But if
yep,
you make mistakes on special teams, they are just devastating mistakes because when you get block punts or look at the Jets, the return punt for the touchdown, or you get a block field goal, or you have a field goal kicker that misses field goals, they're just devastating
it
things.
makes or
Special
breaks
team,
you.
well, you're absolutely right. It makes or breaks you. And this team with the offensive line, and then they listen now, they're not as bad as 40-0. We know they are. This is like I said, it's a game that kind of just got out of hand. It reminded me of. Do you remember the game with? I think they were either retiring Sims or LT's number, and they played the Cowboys on that Monday
It was
night, and they
that
lost
was
like 35
Sims
nothing or
because
something.
or that was there was also the Panthers playoff when they did that with LT.
Okay, yeah,
It
yeah,
was,
yeah,
yes, because I was at that game and I was even like, I had my hood up and I'm like, oh my God, LT is here. They're honoring him and you guys can't put something together. But
yeah.
yes, it's the same thing.
It's the famous with Emmett Smith running. It's got yeah, yeah. The Cowboys. Listen, the Cowboys. They got a number. The Giants are 9, and I believe it's 9-33 in the last 10 years against the Cowboys and the Eagles. And like, how bad is that?
Dak is
That's just
10-0 against us. Like, I mean,
Dak
guys, you
Prescott.
can't put it's Dak Prescott. He's doing, sleep number commercials and stuff. Like, you can't, oh, really, it's the Cowboys. Just give me
So now,
something. Just
the
something.
question I have for you is, and we just spoke about it, should they move on from Evan Neal at offensive tackle? Do you want to move him to the guard position on the right side? What do you want
Yes.
to do with him?
Yeah, move him. There are other. Okay, you have Lael Collins, who's just let go from Cincinnati Bengals, who is actually plays the position. Crazy thought. Justin Pugh wants to come back. You have DJ Fluker. There are people out there that are veterans that you could at least get a season out of. That, I don't know, might keep Daniel Jones from getting his nose ground into the turf. I'm thinking we do that. We just spent $160 million on this guy. Here's a crazy idea. Let's actually protect him. Once again,
Yeah, no,
don't know about that, but let's just give it a shot. I'm saying we move him because to me Neil plays more like a guard. Move him, and I would at least look at Leal. I would look at Pugh, somebody else, because this is not working. And I don't want to hear, let's give him more of a chance. It's only one game. He looked like this in the preseason. He looked like this last year. He's not getting it.
no, he doesn't. He doesn't. He
Let's
doesn't get
move
it. He
on.
doesn't get it at all. And they moved him over to they moved sides, right? He didn't play this. He switched
Mm-hmm.
positions when he came to the Giants. So listen, you can't have this anymore. You're gonna get your quarterback killed. And the fact that he was in the game, Daniel Jones is in the fourth quarter until
This
about a
long.
minute left is. I mean, you're playing with fire there, because you could get your big money quarterback that you just gave all this money to. You get him killed there in that game because they're just pinning their ears back and pass rushing at that point. So what did you
Well,
think? Were you surprised he kept him in
yeah, I was shocked. I mean, look, I don't want to agree with the Cowboys all that much, but Micah Parsons did have a point.
on his
Why?
podcast, right?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Like, what was the point of this? Are you punishing him for a reason? Are you saying, hey, us losing is all your fault, stay in the game? I don't know what your point was. So get him out. I don't agree with the turf. The way Mara did the turf, I don't agree with it. There's been other issues with it, but that's
Yeah, but
beside
what
the
do you
point.
think? What do you think? You think that game's any different if the turf, if they
No,
have
but I think you're
grass?
just putting. I think with grass, I'm just saying you're putting him at risk like way too. There's just so many variables. Why add that in? It's not necessary. Like, why even add that in? You can't control a lot of things about football, but that's the one thing you can control. Why not help it out just a
See,
little bit?
I don't think it's the Giants though. I don't. The Giants or the Jet neither own the stadium. I think it's owned by Jersey, or the Metal. Whoever owns it, I know because I did look into that because of the Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me, because of the Brett Favre thing I said, because of the Aaron Rodgers thing. I did look into it. It's not. I don't think it's either. I don't know who makes the decision, but I don't think it's either the Jets or the Giants because it looks like a money decision, which is absurd with the amount of money they
Mm-hmm.
print money over at the NFL. They're billionaires upon
Yep.
billionaires, so it looks bad. And they'll put grass in for the World Cup. They'll put grass in for other things when it comes. I don't know
Yeah.
why they don't just do it. Just if for no other reason, just to get everybody to shut up about it.
Well,
You know,
I heard that they did have a say. Like, the families, the owners had a say in it. So it's like if they'd actually pushed, it would have been different. But I did speak to someone who has knowledge about the turf and whatnot. From what he told me, the turf that they use, that they just put down, is actually outlawed in places in Europe because of carcinogenic factors.
oh
So
really?
yeah, I think that's interesting because of it's used tires and recycled tires and all this other stuff. So I think there are some issues there, and just in general in the NFL, if the players all want turf, I don't know why grass. I don't know why you just can't give it to them. They're the ones putting their necks out on the line. Give
They
them
don't
what
want to
they
give him
want.
anything. They didn't even want to give him health insurance until a couple years ago.
They're
They're
fining them because
greedy.
their socks don't meet their pants, and you're going to hit them with a $5,000 fine.
It's just
You
another
know what I'm
reason they hate
saying? Like,
billionaires. Just another reason they hate billionaires.
it's
The
another reason to
NFL
just
is
hate the
all about a
owners.
money grab. The way the NFL's got me paying $250 to watch the damn
Thank
thing, to
you.
watch the YouTube, right? Where
Thank you.
it freezes and it this and that, and
Mm-hmm.
then bad enough
Mm-hmm.
is I'm watching the games and I get my phone. Like, look, I'm frozen right now. So this
Uh-huh.
is what happens when you watch a football game.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
watching the game the alert pops up on my phone because I forgot to turn it off before the play actually happens in front of me. It's a whole disaster. The NFL, they're just money hungry, money hungry, money hungry. Now, as far as the Giants
Mm-hmm.
go with the rookies
Mm-hmm.
last week I should say, they really didn't
Yep.
play well. They kind of disappointed. Now you're putting those two rookie corners on the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
That's playing with fire to begin with. It's a tough position. It's a tough position to get in the
Yep.
NFL. It's one of the toughest positions to play and to master. Then you also had Hyatt, who had one target, one drop. You had the center.
He should have had that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, you should have that. That I'm not worried about. It was his only throw. He had a drop. That I'm not too worried about. But the center, Schmitz, he struggled,
Yeah.
and the
Big
two
time.
and Hawkins got they were throwing all over Hawkins.
Deontay. Yeah, they were. I mean, look, you got Brandon Cook, who was on fire. I mean, he was the major guy. CD Lamb, I wasn't even. I felt like CD Lamb was not even a factor in the game as much as Cook was. Cook was the
Yeah,
main guy. Uh, I'm not sure these rookies, and it's always funny with the rookies because you always hear, "Oh, I was surprised at the speed of the game. Oh my gosh, the speed from college." Yeah, yeah, yeah. So putting them on some of the top wide receivers and things like that, it's almost like you look at them and go, "All right, guys, it's baptism by fire." So I'm not impressed overall. Now that doesn't mean they're not going to grow into it. That's not what I'm saying at all.
But can you
So
deal with the growing pains? Because now, if you're a 9-win
yeah,
team like they were last year, you're not playing with much margin, much wiggle room with that. You
I,
can't lose. You can't
yes,
lose a game because of your secondary, because your corner gets burned deep, against, let's say, the Cardinals or something. You can't have that happen.
I feel like they're putting more pressure on Jason Pinnock to kind of push them along and cover more, especially in the center. And that's where I'm like, he's one dude. What did what did you think is going to happen here? Like he can't be in 10 places at once. Yeah, he can cover on slants, maybe, a button hook. Yeah, okay, maybe he's got it. But these two guys, you got to push them along a lot faster. And I don't know from a perspective of can they learn? Maybe Deontay Banks. I look at Deontay Banks and I think maybe he's got a little something here or there. But I'm just looking at these guys and I'm like, are they going to come along fast enough? And does Wink Martindale? Because I was waiting for the Wink moment. Like I'm like, here comes
Yeah,
the
well,
Wink
the
magic. Like
Wink is gonna blitz
here
you
it
to
is.
death, and he's gonna leave these two
But
though
he
on
didn't
a,
even
on an island.
blitz.
I
He
yeah,
didn't.
well, cause
I didn't see enough. Like I was like, he's going to blitz now. Here it comes. And then I'm like, nothing. Where is it? What's happening?
well, that's what I was saying. I said to Giants fans and that they need to like pump the brakes a little bit on your expectations. I get it. The team went to the
Yes,
playoffs last year. They won a game. They're still in a rebuild. This is a team still in a rebuild. It's like a second year,
that's
third year of a rebuild. They played well last year. They got the playoff win on the road, which is great. But they got knocked right back down to earth in Philadelphia and showed, that they're not really ready for
oh
that.
yeah.
They also, you had Wink Martindale, who was brilliant with his blitzes at the right times. He took a lot of
Mm-hmm.
risks. They paid off.
Yes.
They also got a lot of breaks. The Giants, they were a come from behind team. They just in week one against when going for two. That we all
Oh
fell in
yeah.
love with Dable right there. So let's like pump the brakes. There's a reason why Vegas has them at 7.5 as their number, and Vegas is
Yep.
usually right. They're not off by 3 or 4 wins. Very, very rarely are they off by like 3 or 4 wins on anything. So they have them at 7.5. I'd be happy if they got to 9 again.
Yeah, I would be thrilled at 9, but the thing with them, when you look at last year, I mean, our schedule this year is when it comes to the first half traveling is ridiculous. We're back and forth from the coast. It's a lot. And I'm looking at last year. Look, we had the Packers and we beat them, and everybody was like, "Holy cow, you beat the Packers." Then it was we beat the Ravens, we beat Lamar. We had a very different schedule. This year, I mean, we got the 49ers coming up,
On a short
Seattle,
week.
yeah, and a short week. I mean, we've got Thursday night and Monday night almost back to back with this stuff. The 49ers look damn good. You know, Seattle, I'm not, Seattle can go either way. Miami looks good. The only thing with the Bills is they're going to be coming off an international game. Can kind of
Oh,
go either
okay.
way, on that one. The
Josh
Raiders,
Allen looks like Brett Favre in the early days, just given he's very careless with the ball.
the thing with Josh Allen is he's Superman. He wants to, and it reminds me a little bit of Lamar. They force it. They feel like they got to put the whole team on their back, and they're going to be the ones that save the day. We're going to save the team, and that can work in our favor, as it worked for the Jets' favor. I mean, that's what happens when the quarterback thinks that they got to save the day. They're going to make those mistakes. And you look at Allen, and you just want to kind of like you almost want to just take his face and smush it and go, calm down.
Because he's got he's
There's a
got a
team
world of
around
talent.
you. Yeah, you just want to go, there's a whole team out there. Like these guys all are on your side. The ones in the blue play for you. Okay? All right, baby doll? And just like calm him down and
Yeah,
be like,
and
good job. Go
now
team.
that now this week coming up, well, now like I said, I didn't go back on it because I had said before the game that Dallas game, I was like, this is a big game. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that there's a million overreactions to week one. There's Half the fan bases think that they're never going to lose another game. Half the fan bases think that the team's never going to win another
We're
game.
done.
So now I did think this was a big game just because it's a division game. The Giants don't win within the division. They haven't won within the division in years. So I said it was a big game. So I stood by it, and I think it's a big loss that they had. Now, the way it happened, 40-0, I get it. It just got out of hand. I think that this is an absolute must-win. You can't go because first of all, Arizona's tanking. They're tanking for the quarterback. They're not a good team. Washington just scraped by them last week. This is a must win, especially because you're probably not going to win in San. Let's be real, you're not going to win in San Francisco if.
Oh God.
But you know what? You never know. Maybe, you know what? With our luck, they'll probably lose to Arizona and they'll beat San Francisco.
Well, that's the life of a Giants fan. Flashes of greatness followed by stretches of mediocrity. That's how we do it. They have to win against the Cardinals. If they don't, it's a tailspin. And I don't know if Daboll, because it's more of a, an attitude thing. They've got to win against the Cardinals because if they don't, it's a bad sign against Washington. That's why.
And Daboll's going to find out real quick. Like he's got nothing but we were throwing bouquets at him last year. He hasn't seen New York yet.
New York media.
No, he hasn't faced New York yet when they're losing. That was his first real taste of it because we forgave the Eagles because we knew we weren't. We had accomplished everything we wanted to that year. We went in, we won a road playoff game in Minnesota. That was playing house money with the Eagles thing. Then we came in this week with big expectations. Imagine if somebody who spent money. You weren't at the game, were you? Imagine you sat in the rain, sat in traffic for 3 hours, sat in the rain, pouring rain to see 3 minutes of football, and the whole thing gets. And before you sit in your seat with your first beer, and it's 19-0. Ah, what a disaster that was! It's a nightmare.
No.
Now, what do you see? Okay, again.
No, I was just gonna say, Daboll hasn't dealt with New York media like that yet. He loses this game. Oh, he ain't the darling anymore.
No, and you're right. You're lucky that the Jets disaster because that I don't even know what to say about that. But
that took the sting out.
It took the focus away.
Yep.
I said the Giants could fly under the radar this year because the focus was going to be on the Jets. The Jets were the headline, Giants were the sub-headline here. Now, with Rodgers out and the Giants are going to be back front and center. So we'll see. Now, do you think this is a playoff team this year?
After what I saw last week, no. I wanted to really be behind them. Unless that O-line gets fixed and that right side specifically, I can't get behind them. And I haven't seen enough from Jones. And the biggest thing that bothers me with him right now and to be able to say a playoff is the leadership. I watched him just sulk on the bench. Look, I'm not a Brady fan. Let me just be very clear on this. But I always saw fire from Brady, and I could appreciate that. I don't see any fire from Jones. Even when they're winning, I don't see fire.
Hey, but Eli was a leader, and Eli wasn't a fiery guy.
But but there was a couple times where I saw Eli grab somebody. Hey, you missed that. At least I got that. But there was a coolness to Eli that you respected. Jones, I'm not seeing anything. That's the problem, is that I see him sulking. I never saw Eli sulk. When they were down, Eli was neutral. I could appreciate
I
neutral.
disagree. I disagree with that. You never saw Eli sulk on the sideline. I mean, maybe
no,
not
I never
like
saw
Daniel
him
Jones,
sulking.
but he would get everybody. That was the whole thing with Eli. Everyone's like he was kind of he showed no emotion. But you're right.
Listen, Cunningham, but he might have been like Richie Cunningham, but I could deal with that versus the towel on your head down. I mean, it just looked like he gave up on the team. I never saw Eli give up on the Giants. Daniel Jones to me looked like he gave up. That I got a problem with. Like I said, if I can make it through the Dave Brown era and still bleed blue, dude, it's 40-0 and it's only the first game of the season. You can't be giving up on us already because we're all still here. What do? You got paid $160 million. Get your butt up and at least high five somebody right now. Look a little happy. I don't know what you have to do. But
no, because then you'd be killing him.
Tyrod
then
Taylor.
You'd be killing him for being happy in a 40-0 game.
No, but I mean, like, do something to get your guys going because originally when that first drive went out and then the defense went on, they were stopping the run. And I was like, okay, we're stopping Tony Pollard. I'm good with this. I was like, we got something. I get that it's 40-0, but you can't look like the whole season's gone. And that's how I felt he looked. And that's where I had more of an issue with it. So
Yeah,
I'm more worried about leadership than anything.
I think he was embarrassed more than anything. They got run out of their own building. That was like a high
Oh,
school
yeah.
game. That was a high school game where where the one
Yeah.
team wins has won four straight state championships. The other team has won two games for the last 5 years and 40-0. 40-0's a high school score. They didn't move the
Oh, I
ball.
thought they were like Pop Warner. It was a
Yeah,
Pop Warner team going up against a college team. That's what it looked like. And it was just like, okay, what do we do? It was, I couldn't, but
yeah,
I just feel like sometimes you're getting paid 160 million, make it work. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And
Do something.
and the only bright spot is they didn't get. It's not like Dak and the Cowboys were just cutting them the defense to ribbons, going up and down the field, up and down. It wasn't like that. It was just one of those fluke
Right.
games that kind of got out of hand and everything went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and it just one thing
Oh,
piled on
yeah.
top of the other, and then you found yourself you're down. Okay, what happened? We don't know what happened here. You turn around and you're going, oh, it's 26-0. Now,
Bounce back this week.
exactly, exactly. Now, I had listened to you on a couple on this Move the Chains podcast. Good podcast. I
Mhm.
actually like it. I like Mark.
Thank
You and
you.
Mark have good dynamic. Listen to it, everybody. But I was listening to one and I heard you bitching and moaning about Tiki Barber. Now,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Tiki on WFAN. I don't think he's great there, just because I don't think he's like a all sports kind of guy, especially with Evan, who's a
Mhm.
nerdy.
Yeah.
What's your problem with Tiki Barber? You're a Giants fan. He's not a great
Oh,
Giant.
no. No, he's not. Nope. I don't even think he's a great running back. I think he's mediocre at best. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame contender. I don't think he should be in the Giants Ring of Honor. No, I don't like Tiki. Tiki does not like me. We don't like each other.
He
It's
seems
well
like a nice guy
established.
too. You both seem like
No,
nice
he's not.
people. I don't know.
Oh
Oh, he's
no,
not. He's not.
no, he is not. Tiki and I have had words.
Okay.
So this is where the feud starts. The feud starts in 1998. So we go way back. What happened was it was in the Danbury Fair Mall, Connecticut. I'm going to pull a Sophia from the Golden Girls. Sorry.
Okay.
Uh, Danbury. So he was doing a signing. Well, originally Jason Sehorn was doing a signing. So it was at a sports memorabilia store. It was supposed to be Jason Sehorn and Danny Cannell together. So you paid $25. That's all it was. Guaranteed you a spot, and you got whatever. You could either pick a hat, a football, or a picture. Guaranteed you a spot. You met both of them. They were going to sign. The last minute, Cannell backed out. We didn't know who was taking his spot. We just knew it was going to be Sehorn and somebody else. I waited in line, and you were VIP to first get in. So I'm waiting. All of a sudden, Tiki walks in, and he's got an entourage. Now, if you remember 1998, Tiki was fumbling a lot. He was
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
very good. Tiki walks in, but I'm still like, cool. It's going to be Tiki Barber. I'm good with this. Well, then I feel somebody hit into me. I turn around, and it's Jason Sehorn. He does not have an entourage, nothing. At this point, Sehorn was doing all the commercials. He was kind of one of the stars.
His
No
girlfriend
entourage.
or
He
his
just
wife was a bigger star than he was, right? Angie Harmon.
No, this was his first marriage. He wasn't
Okay.
even
Okay.
married to Harmon yet. He says, excuse me. He's like, I'm so sorry. Nice guy. Walks right in. No entourage. Boom. Signing starts. I get up. I get my little picture of Sehorn, my picture of Barber, and I go walking up. Now, as I'm getting there, I had a disposable camera. Security guard says, sorry, no photos. He takes my camera. Okay. Walk up. I get to Sehorn. Sehorn's like, how would you like me to make it out? Thank you so much for coming. I have a whole conversation with him. Super cool dude. And I move down to Tiki. Slide picture in front. I'm like, it's so nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Tiki does not say one word to me. So I go, oh, okay. Could you make it out to Danielle? He goes, looks at his assistant. His assistant slides the picture back to me and goes, I'm sorry, Tiki doesn't sign things that way. I go,
Okay.
well, tell Tiki I paid $25 to see him. You're an added bonus. Make it out to Danielle. Tiki
He
slides the
didn't
picture
realize
back
you're
to me.
about that life. You're about that life. He didn't realize that.
Tiki slides back to me unsigned, looks at his assistant again.
Wow.
And I'm still like, why won't this man talk to me or even look at me? Guy slides back. He goes, Tiki does not personalize.
Which is ridiculous. Because you can't sell it once you personalize it.
I didn't want. I just wanted it personalized. That was, So Seahorn turns around and goes, make it out to her. He says no, but talks to Seahorn and talks to the assistant. I am right here. So finally, I look at him. He writes Tiki and just hands it to me. I go, hey, next time, take the blinders off. Maybe start looking laterally. Put some Velcro on your arm and on your gloves so you can actually hold the ball and stop fumbling it. Thanks a lot. Well, Seahorn starts laughing. And then he's like, oh, shit. Like he's,
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, jerk. Well, he turns to the guy, mumbles bitch. And I'm like,
Oh,
it's on. So I go to leave and I'm like, be nice, Danielle. Just be nice. Be nice. So Seahorn once again goes, you could have just made it out to her. Like, what's the big deal? So then this old lady jumps in Seahorn's lap and takes a picture. And I just turn around and I go, oh. So Seahorn stops the whole thing. He goes, what's wrong, sweetie? I go, nothing, nothing. So Tiki rolls his eyes at me and I'm like, I've had enough of you. I'm done with you. I look at Seahorn and I go, nothing. They took my security took my cameras, told no pictures. He goes, oh, did they? Looks at his guy. He goes, can you go and buy her one of those little cameras and bring her back when everybody's gone? I'm going to take a picture with her. Okay.
Seahorn said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They go, they buy me a camera, they come back. Everybody's gone. Seahorn's like, come here. Takes pictures with me, sits for a half hour talking to me, and turns to Barber and he's like, let's talk to her. Well, Barber takes his chair and goes and turns his back. And Seahorn's looking at him. He's like, take the freaking picture with us. Take the picture. Barber refuses to speak to me, take a picture with me, nothing. So Seahorn's like, never mind. Puts his arm around me, takes a picture. I have a big black eye at the time because I had been competing in martial arts and I had gotten a shiner the week before. So Seahorn goes, look, if your boyfriend did it, I don't want to know. I said, no, explain what's going on. He goes, oh, we're learning Tai Chi to stop false starts and breathing and blah, blah, blah. He goes, right. Tiki, and he's trying to talk to Tiki. Tiki will not speak to me, will not acknowledge my existence, nothing. And he's like, oh. And Seahorn's like, dude, just like talk to us. Nothing. I take the picture with Seahorn. We do like the whole thing. We take a couple. We talk more. He's like, can you send me this picture? He's like, just send it to the state. He's like, I will get it. I'm like, cool, dude. Great. He asks me where to go to eat. We have a whole thing. The whole time, Tiki huffed and puffed. I heard from several people that he was just a jerk. He was pouting because he was billed second on the thing. And
yeah,
then later on,
Seahorn was a good
Seahorn
player.
was great.
I wouldn't say no. Seahorn was a great player. He was a good player. He was above
No,
average.
I mean he was like a
great
good
person.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just like a great guy. Years later, after they lost to the Super Bowl to the Ravens,
yes,
they were doing a walk for domestic violence at the Westchester at the Seahorn, and they said, my personal trainer met you years ago. He remembered me, and he goes, I'm not supposed to personalize it. He goes, give it to me. He goes, because Barbara wouldn't personalize anything for her.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And wound up writing a whole thing to me. And he remembered that Barbara treated me like that.
Now you're a writer who's somewhat famous, who's done the book signings. I'm guessing, right? I'm sure you've gone
Yes.
to book signings that had a bad day, right? Is it possible he just had a bad day?
I'm never like that when I meet anybody. Because I remembered how I felt meeting Barber. And you paint on a happy face because that's your job for that moment, and you do it. And because he was there with his teammate who was even trying to tell him, look, dude, it's 2 seconds, just sign.
He's right. Because now here we are years later, and you're sitting here telling the story still. You put the smile on because
you put it on.
People remember that. Here you are years later. You still don't like him. You have convinced yourself that he was a bad player, which he wasn't a bad player. But you have
the way I look at him.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. And I have the same thing. I'm a diehard huge Mets fan. I have the same thing with Keith Hernandez. He was a jerk to me multiple times, and he's one of the all-time Mets. He's a borderline Hall of Famer. 86 team, great.
Yes.
I don't like him at all. And it sucks that I feel bad. I want to like him, but he's a jerk. And I've heard other people say he's done like snubbed them and just been a jerk to them.
Yeah.
So for those 2 seconds, you put on the smile and it saves this story from happening over and over and over and over again.
It doesn't take much, but enough that when I go to a signing and somebody says, "Can you make it out to this?" I'm like, "Nope, whatever you want, no problem. Because I remember how I felt, and I'm such a huge Giants fan that meeting any Giant, I'm like, this is awesome.
The Washington game that got us into the playoffs was a pretty good performance.
Like I said, I will give him credit on certain things, but overall, no, because I feel like, especially with the Giants, there's a certain esteem that goes with it. There's a certain legacy, and you just had to be nice for a little bit. And if you didn't want to personalize it, you could have said it to me. That's what bothered me, was he didn't even acknowledge me, say hello. He spoke through an assistant.
He big timed you. He big timed you.
Yeah, and at the time I'm like, what's the deal?
Now with the Redskins,
Yes.
my thing with the Redskins is, now I had heard also, I think it was the same episode. You didn't think that the Redskins, or you knew someone who is Native American, and you think that they were going to change it back. The way I look at it is if there's one Native American out there that's offended, it should just be changed, because it seems to me like a Redskin would be an offensive term. I don't know, but I think if there's one Indian out there, one American, Native American who doesn't like it, just change it. They make money up from it anyway. Everyone's got to buy new merchandise.
I went back and forth because Mark and I had a lot of discussions about that. He was like, they're not changing it. I want to keep the name. And I was like, okay. I was like, but it is offensive. But then when we were going back and forth on it, I looked at, the mascot itself, like the emblem, and I'm like, it's not cartoony, but I get it. It's the intent behind it.
It's borderline. That logo is borderline.
Right. Well, it's not like a cartoon exaggeration,
it's not
as some of them have
like the
been.
Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, and so I was going back and forth, and then when I spoke to a couple Native Americans who were saying it's what it is, but if you get rid of it, you're whitewashing a sense what the history has been, and that we had a stake. And I was like, okay, I never thought of it in that way at all. And I was like, all right, well, I never saw it that way. I did speak, to someone who's related to me who is, and they were like, I don't find it offensive. And I was like, you don't? And they were like, no, not at all. And I thought everybody was offended who was Native American by it. Like, I thought that was the whole hubbub. And she was like, no, it doesn't bother me. And I'm like, okay. She's like, and I'm a football fan. I never thought of it that way because I don't identify with it. And I'm like,
yeah, it's not really up to me. People like me and you is what you're saying.
Right. That's how I felt. I'm like, I'm a Puerto Rican. So if I don't have a dog in this fight, if they told me, hey, we're naming it this, and it was something offensive, I'd be like, okay, wait a minute, sorry, but I just feel like it's not a place for me to really weigh in on it. And then I heard the Harris Group make a comment that they will not be changing it specifically because it's related specifically with Snyder's legacy.
Yeah, so Snyder's the real problem. Was the real problem there?
Right. That was the whole thing. Was they said, while they will consider a name change because they're kind of not sold on Commanders either, it was a rush to get a name that they kind of want to start fresh. So I was like, all right, I get it, but like I said, I can see how some of the Native Americans felt like you're just pushing us aside, and we did this. This is a team named after us, and I thought, all right, well, like the Chiefs are it, like that's all. That's the only team.
All right.
And I was like, all right, I kind of get where they're going with it. So I was very kind of torn on which way. But at the end of it, I'm like, I don't think I should have a voice in this because I'm not Native American. So like,
there you go.
I don't think anybody really cares about my opinion.
So now I got two more questions for you, and then I'm going to let you go. One of them is Daniel Jones the quarterback? Can he win can he win a Super Bowl for this team? My answer is no. I don't think he could, in January, in the snow, on the road, take the team 80 yards when they need a score and to win a playoff game. My answer is no, he can't win a Super Bowl for this team. What's your answer?
I don't
this
believe
year,
so.
but
I've not seen. No, I don't think in general. I've not seen enough out of him. His long fields passing, it's next to nothing. Like I've never seen. Granted, people say he hasn't had the targets and all that stuff. I don't see it in him. part of me, and I discussed this with my brother, we both think that they're just waiting for Arch Manning, and that Eli's already been
Maybe.
putting it in his ear.
That's the family
Like,
business. That's the family business for them.
yeah, like
Being
we all
quarterback is a
know where
family
you're
business.
going. Anthony Richardson is already with the Colts. They're not getting Broncos aren't getting rid of Russell, so where are you going? I kind of feel like that's already the plan. But I just don't think Jones is the legacy, and I don't see them doing anything else. But I have not seen enough out of him. I think he will make a great backup quarterback for somebody down the
So
line,
now,
and they'll be lucky to have him.
if the Giants lose this week, do they take the quarterback with the number one pick, or do they trade it away?
Well, Arch isn't available for another couple years, so I think. And the funny thing is, I think Jones's contract is exactly up when Arch is available.
They maneuver it. They did it with Eli, right? They maneuvered their way into the Giants. He wasn't drafted by
Thank
us.
God.
Oh,
But
stop. Phillip Rivers would have been good too. Phillip Rivers, don't act like Phillip Rivers is
no,
dog is nothing.
but I think no, Rivers was good. I'm not saying he isn't, but I think Manning ended up where he was supposed to in the system he was supposed to. I think it all ended where the way it was meant to. But I don't think Rivers could have handled New York media.
Okay,
That's the big part of it.
He's got like 20 kids at home. He's a very religious 20 kid guy. I think if you have kids,
Yeah.
that many kids, you can handle whatever.
No, I don't think. But they're being religious and being in New York.
Yeah, you're right. If it doesn't help them. Now,
I
don't know. How do you watch football on Sunday? Are you a Giants on the TV? That's it. Are you a multiple TV person? Are you a red zone person? How do you watch How do you watch football on Sunday?
I do the NFL Network game day because I cannot give the NFL any more money.
What about the red zone channel?
Because down here, for some reason, the way it's set up, because I can't do FiOS or anything here.
Okay.
I would have to purchase it with the YouTube ticket, which takes it up to like $3.99.
Oh, so you're not even in New York. You don't even get the Giants games.
No, because my husband got transferred down to Charlotte, and I'm stuck here in Charlotte dealing with that. Wow. So I have to wait for Monday, Thursday, and then it's turkey burgers and curly fries, because I swear that's the only good luck thing. Apparently it didn't work because I didn't have a diet cream soda with it. So
40 nothing, and 40 nothing, and it was the diet cream soda, right?
Yeah, it was a diet cream soda. It was Dr. Brown's diet cream soda that did us all in. Okay, so blame me on that. So I may have to just finally do the YouTube ticket, but I just
it sucks. It's like $250.
Yeah, and I just don't want to give the NFL money, because I keep saying, why haven't they done like a team ticket? Kind of thing.
Because they don't have
to. You can pick your, I know, but I keep wanting to like drive it home. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And I think one day I'll just manifest it. And all of a sudden I'll like turn on the channel, and the NFL will be announcing, yeah, you can pick your out-of-market ticket. Great. For $125, just pick your ticket. I keep thinking that they'll do that.
Good luck.
Makes sense.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. Goodell's not going to listen to me. He will never listen to me, but I keep thinking one day he might. I don't know, or somehow the Giants will.
Well, Now I mentioned earlier that you're an author, that you're a writer. You write fantasy novels, correct?
Yes, fantasy.
Okay,
correct.
Just give a quick everybody what in case someone in case they're interested in that. Tell everybody what you do and what kind of books you write.
I write fantasy. They are not high fantasy. They're kind of just the gateway drug into fantasy, I call them. It's called the Birth of the Fae series. There are 6 books plus a novella. It's about how the Fae or fairies came to be, but there's a lot of dragons, political intrigue. It is not romance, so you don't have to worry about, if you're a guy out there looking for something cool to read, you don't have to worry about like, oh God, it's going to be like all romance stuff. No, there's more dragons, political intrigue. Like I said, there's 6 books. Locked Out of Heaven is the first one. Thine Eyes of Mercy, From the Ashes, Kingdom Come, Forgive, Fae is Done, and Forgive Us. And then there is a dragon tournament novel called Fire, Ice, Acid, and Heart. And they're all about, just fantasy creatures and how they came to be, mermaids, dryads, all those kind of things. And like I said, a lot of dragons. I worked very hard on my dragons. I worked with a physics engineer, a physics professor, a mechanical engineer, and a veterinarian. to make the dragons plausible. So Neil Tyson DeGrassi, whatever his name is, won't come after me and say they can't possibly exist.
I love
You
I
know.
love him. So she said in a couple here for my wife Sarah because she reads them.
Yes.
So her name is Danielle Orsino. Danielle, if they start winning, we're gonna have to have you on more because then you might be the good luck. But if we'll see.
Trying.
That something's falling over. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us a couple of minutes here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.